Hi, T and Dainty here, and I'm doing this recording because a webinar didn't work very well. I had trouble with my computer. Anyway, I'm going to record this webinar about how to get and retain new clients. So let's get started. You may be wondering who I am. Well, my name is Ian Dainty, and my business is B2b Business Coach, and I sell to other businesses, not consumers. And pretty well all my clients are B2B businesses too, with the odd exception. I'd say 95% of them are. I actually now have a client that does sell to other businesses, but also the clients of that business are very important. She actually deals with those clients. So, but she sells to other businesses. So basically, I help companies sell to other businesses, and I've been doing it for a long, long time. My background, I've been in it for 39 years. Started on actually 39 years this month. I started in July of 1974 with IBM. As you can tell, I'm an old guy, old fart, as people say. I've owned and sold two businesses. I'm now in my third in this business. I've been doing this for, well, on and off for 20 years now. And my first business I ran for about 15 years and sold it. It hit around 22 million at its peak, and my other business was in the .com era, and we got .bomb, but we still got out with some money anyway. So, and now I'm doing this, which is helping B2B companies increase their revenue through better sales and marketing practices. I've trained thousands of entrepreneurs, small and medium-sized business owners, consultants, sales and marketers, executives, small, medium, large companies. I've worked in telecoms. I've worked in airline industry. I've worked with banks and many small and medium-sized businesses, particularly in the technology industry, to help them grow. I've worked with hundreds of businesses, as I mentioned, particularly business owners, sales and marketing people. And what I work on people is giving them a revenue leap. And the world has changed dramatically over the past 4 or 5 years with the internet and how it's used to get new business. And most people will predict a 10 or 12 or 15% increase year over year. My first company, I had a 50% increase, and that was in the 80s and 90s. And I'm going to show you how to get a better leap, usually anywhere from 25% to 100% in 1 to 2 years over what you've predicted through better sales and marketing efforts. A recent client tripled their client base in a little less than 18 months. And I guarantee my work and the results you're going to get from me. And we talk about the guarantee as we go through it. Today's topics, I want to talk about the foundation of a B2B business, why that's important. Because you don't have a foundation, it's just like a house. You can't build a house without the foundation. You can't build your living room or your bedroom without the foundation. So I want to talk about the foundation, why it's important. There's 5 phases of buying, and I want to go through those so you understand how companies buy and why, and also what their buying process is and why they buy. So all of these are really important so that you can understand and make sure that your communications pieces and everything you do is geared towards that to help you help them. I'm going to talk about the 2 types of marketing, inbound and outbound, the best social B2B social media platforms, what they are and how you could use them, how to communicate with your clients, and then, of course, I'm going to talk about an offer I have at the end. As you may know, I started in right in the first of the year, I think it was the 2nd of January, 101 marketing questions for business growth. Now, most of these I've done on video, like I'm doing here, and they are questions that people have asked me and I know about. They've come through the ages. Basically, I'm on question 75 now. It takes a while to go through them. I do 2 to 3 a week. As I say, I started the 2nd or 3rd of January, and I'm up to 74 or 5 now, and I hope to finish them off by the, I guess, middle end of September. Hopefully, they'll be done by then. And then I'm going to put them away, and I'm going to sell them. So if you want to go at them, they're at the FAQs now in my website, but if you want to have a look at them. And during those blog posts, they've all been blog posts, all of these questions, I've had 3 that have been very popular. The first one is, why do you need a B2B marketing plan? And of course, that's really speaks to the foundation of what we're going to talk about today. Why is your website so important, and why is it your best marketer in B2B? And in B2B sales, is the hunter roll dead? So these are the three most popular. I'm getting hundreds of views of these over the past little while. I don't get thousands. I'm not going to brag and say I get 1 million views. I mean, I don't sell to consumers. I sell to businesses, and people are busy and they don't have time, and some of them go later. But I'm getting more and more views. I'm getting, on average, close to 300 views a day now, where January I was probably getting 85 to 90. So I've gone up quite substantially since I've started this. So let's look at the foundation for a B2B business. Well, the first thing you have to do is define your ideal client. I don't know why these are doing this. Your ideal client company, then your ideal client persona. I guess I must have pushed the wrong button too often. And the ideal client persona is, who is the person within your ideal client that you want to deal with? The top person, the person who makes a decision. What are their goals, both the company goals and the person's goals? They're important to know. We talk about issues. You know, you got to go up and say to the ideal client persona, the person, what keeps you awake at night? Well, you better know these nowadays, what keeps this person awake at night, because they don't want to tell you. If you don't know before you go in there, then they're not going to talk to you. I'm doing interviews with mostly CIOs, Chief Information Officers, because that's who a lot of my clients talk to. But, you know, they're irrespective if it's a COO, CEO, whoever it is, you know, they've got to work towards the goals of the company. And then, of course, they have their own personal goals, which you should know, too. But the issues revolve around their goals. So know their goals first. Know what they want to achieve before you start talking about their issues. Ask them what they want to achieve, or if you find it on the web, then that's even better. Then your unique value proposition. What value do you bring to your client? And I'm going to talk about that. I was going to ask it through a question, but I'll still do that. You must know it's not a unique selling proposition. I don't like that term. I like value proposition, because selling proposition says, and Rosser Rees, I think his name was, Rossiter Rees invented it, unique selling proposition. How do we sell? What's unique about our company? But I want to know what's unique about our value that we bring to the client. That's what we want to talk about. And then what differentiates you from your competition, because people want to know that. Why would I buy from you? What makes me buy? Why should I buy from you? Why not your client? Why not your competition? So I want to show you 3 areas about what not to do in this. I get calls all the time from Europe and Asia, people wanting to break into the North American marketplace, and they ask me, can you help me do that? You know, will you sell for me? I say, no, I'm not going to sell for you, but I'll help you do that. And then I ask them 3 questions. First one is, who's your ideal client? What's your unique value proposition, and how do you differentiate yourself? Well, one company was asking me, and English isn't their first language on this, and I just copied it straight from how they gave me the answer. I asked them those 3 questions. Here's what I got for an ideal client. Our ideal client company needs to be responsive, communicative, helpful in terms of understanding the scope, and clearly state what is the expectation so we can serve in a better way. Does that describe their ideal client? I have no idea who their ideal client is, what industry they're in, where they go. I hear people say all the time, what industry are they in? Doesn't matter, I can help everybody. Well, you can't help everybody. Even IBM doesn't pretend to help everybody, you know. In a B2B situation, you can't help everybody. Even in a B2C, you can't help everybody. So you've got to define who your ideal client is and the persona within that. So then I said, okay, what's your unique value proposition? Well, here it is. Again, the spelling's not so good. I'm a little upset because I think the person did it in a real hurry, and some of their spelling's very good if they'd have taken their time. So really, this is sort of something that says, oh, help me, and I'll imagine sending this to a client. Well, they're sending it to me, and they want me to help them. Our value, I guess it's value for the client, is to deliver him or her a final product that is best quality, completely bug-free, and only for the product quality he like to work with us in continuous basis. So in short, we deliver quality apart from all other commitment, I guess, that we make towards our client, like problem solving, good communication, deliver a complete and usable product for a long time. Now, again, their English isn't very good, and the way they string a sentence together. But the point is, you go on a North American client or an English client or Australian, whatever, and they have a similar thing. This is what we do. That's not a value proposition. What's the value in there? I don't even see any value in there. Bug-free? Everybody does that. So then I say, what differentiates you? Oh, you'll love this one. People promises a lot and deliver very little. I guess that's other companies. We believe in work, hence we deliver many things more which never promise. Support, communication, quality. This three combines to create our strength and uniquely define us with the ample ability to deliver in time on-demand solutions. Boy, there's nobody else in the world that does that, right? This is nuts. This is crazy. This is why people don't succeed. They do this kind of stuff, and people don't understand what differentiates them, and they wonder why they can't get business. We're terrific. Buy from us. I mean, you've really got to work on this. This is the foundation of your business. You cannot do anything else until you define all of these things. This is why B2B marketers and salespeople fail, why companies fail, really. Not B2B marketers, B2B companies fail. There's no foundation or no direction to help the marketers and salespeople out, so they can't do it. So how do you give foundation? What's the most important thing in your UVP that very few companies have? Do you know what that is? Just think about it for a sec. What's the most important thing? Numbers. Put numbers in your unique value proposition. How can you deliver value to somebody without numbers and ROI? We help our clients increase their profitability by 13.5%. Work with the clients on that. They increased productivity by 23.8%. Work with them. Find out what it is, how much it costs an hour for them people to do that, to work. And once you put your system in, how big was their productivity then? Maybe they didn't have to hire 2 people or whatever it was. All of those things. Find out what numbers are. That will help make you unique too. You need numbers. So why do people buy then? Well, you have to build trust with them before they buy. And you do that by delivering results with the value you bring, the ROI, the value, the numbers, and that builds the relationship, which then builds trust. So that's why people buy from a certain company. The results you bring with the value, building trust with the relationship. So let's look at the 5 phases of buying then. First of all, the company, the individual has to believe they have a problem. We all do that. We have a problem. And the next thing is important. They want to solve the problem. We may all have a problem. My computer's too slow. All of a sudden, and I've got to find out my audio doesn't work anymore. It's done that half a dozen times. I think it might be this new microphone I tried. Now I'm back to my old one. But then they have to solve the problem. We all have problems. Our car rattles. Our computer doesn't work as fast as I like it. But, we don't necessarily want to solve the problem because it's nothing great. So they have to want to solve the problem. Not only agree they have it. Yeah, I got a problem. I want to solve it. Then they seek out solutions. They find you first. And I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Then they decide who to buy from. And then there's renewal. And that's up to you to do the renewal to sell them more stuff. So all of these 5 phases are important. The first 2 are very important because if they find you through your marketing because they have a problem and want to solve it, then that's what's going to happen. So what is the buying process? Well, we break it down into 3. Awareness. They have to agree they have a problem and they want to solve it, so that's aware. Evaluation. They're going to seek out different companies who they're going to buy from, going to put a short list in, and then they're going to have a decision. And here's what you can do to help them do that. If they're aware, have white papers, an ebook, some sort of kit, a how-to video, how to do certain things. That's what I'm doing in my 101 questions. Educational webinar, which I just tried to do, in which this is. Then evaluation, that's the stage they go through. Then they may want a product webinar, a case study, frequently asked questions, data sheets, a demo video. They may want to go through a demo with you. Or at least you can have that up there. And then the decision. They may want a free trial, a live demo, a consultation, an estimate, proposal, etc. All of those things go into the decision process. So understand the buying process of your clients. You need to know that in order to build your business. The B2B buying process, where is your place in the buy cycle? Rather, where is their place in the buy cycle? Where are they in the buy cycle? Have they made a decision to buy? Have they shortlisted yet, or are they just looking? You need to know that. What's the size of the sale in the dollar? And this, as far as dollar value is concerned, And this is important too because it'll show you how long it'll take them to buy. What's the effect on the client's company? Is it just going to affect one department, or is it going to affect the whole organization? This is what affects the buying process and the length of it. How many influencers are there? Well, the bigger the effect on the company, the larger the size, there's going to be more influencers, more decision makers. You have to remember this is always your biggest competitor, the status quo. And so what is their status quo? What is it now? Why do they want to change from it? What are the issues they're running into? What's the company situation? Are they growing? Are they standing still? Are they waiting to be sold? Are they acquiring another company? Are they divesting of some of their different companies? So know those. You have to know those things in a buying process. Otherwise, in B2B, you're not going to make the sale. B2B is a very sophisticated sale, and because it's big dollars, usually, that's why. So why do B2Bs buy? There's 5 reasons. I'm going to talk about 4 right now, and I'm see if you want to guess the 5th one. Improved performance. I'm going to talk about what that is. Increased opportunities, a competitive advantage, and they want to work out the risk mitigation. So let's talk about each of these and see what I mean by these. Improved performance means an increase in revenue or profits, decrease in expenses or costs, or improvement in productivity. This is what most people do, and this is where you get your numbers from, really. Everybody wants an improved performance of some kind, but there are other things. They may want to increase their opportunities because they've got a new product they're introducing, they want to enter new markets, or they got a completely new business. They've decided to buy, either they bought a business or they're starting a new business. How can your products and services help them? And perhaps they just want to expand. They want to grow quite rapidly, which is what I obviously work on. How can I help people grow? How can you give them a competitive advantage? Does your product or service help them differentiate themselves from other clients? I'm working on it now. It's not just what you differentiate yourself, but how can you help them differentiate themselves? That's the real key. Can you make them the lowest cost provider in their industry? That's very important. By putting in a new system or whatever you're going to put in, a new product that fits into what they do, will that lower their own costs for production and productivity? Can you help them go into niche markets, which is new markets again, but a little niche market that maybe is just a sub-market of what their market is right now. So that can give them a competitive advantage. There's 2 things in risk mitigation. Obviously, what you want to do is minimize risk, and that's a big reason people will buy from you is there a big risk involved? You know, that's why people used to say, I don't get fired if I buy from IBM, and now it's I buy from Microsoft too, or buy from Apple or whatever. They buy from a big company. So how do you minimize your risk to their client? One way is to guarantee your results. And you got to be careful how you do that if you're a service business. But how do you guarantee your results? I do that, and I'm not going to do it today. But if you want to do business with me, I'll tell you how I do it. You've got to minimize risk. There's always some risk in putting in a new system. If you're putting in a big new product, they're going to buy a new product. There's risk involved because there's change involved, and change involves risk. You have to mitigate that risk. The other one is to avoid risk. I'll give you an example of this. I worked with a client a few years ago now, and what they did is they were a security company, and they would work with banks in the U.S. As you know, there's hundreds and thousands of banks in the U.S. And what they did is they'd sit outside the bank with their computers and try and break into the vault, get the combination of the vault. And what they would do is then phone the chairman up that night when they got it by sitting outside the bank, and they were good hackers, I guess is a good way to put it. And then they would phone the chairman up that night and say, we need to talk to you at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning at the latest, because you have a very severe security risk. And they'd walk in with a piece of paper and with numbers written on it and say, do you know what these numbers are? And the chairman would almost faint because they were the numbers, the combination to the safe. And I said, we did that last night. Just think about how many others can do it. We can help you avoid this risk. So it was a pretty easy sell once they did that. So if you've got something like that, then obviously that's what you want to do. And of course, now with Sarbanes-Oxley and the different laws that come in, that's why you have companies have their books audited every year to avoid risk, so they don't have to go to jail if they ever do get audited by the government. Okay, so if you can do that, then that's great. But there's one other reason B2B companies buy, and it's the most important reason, and it's personal or emotional. Personal wins is why they buy. And what do I mean by that? Well, personal reasons, there's 4 quadrants that you can go through. If you're the seller and they're the buyer, there's 2, each is win-lose. If I win and you lose and I'm the seller and you're the buyer, that means, you know, I'm giving you something, I'm jacking up the price and it's not giving you the value or whatever. Now, there could be the one where I lose and you just want to stay away from that quadrant totally, which is when you get in arguments with your clients or whatever. Now, sometimes you want to lose a client because they're just the client from hell, as the situation goes. They want everything for free. They want you to work for like crazy on things. And finally, you say to them, "Look, I don't think we can do business anymore." And I think you should do that, because if they're not paying you the value, they pay late all the time. There's always one or two clients that do everything, wrong, and most people put up with it. And I don't think you should. So avoid that quadrant. And then there's the top left quadrant. I lose, you win. You can do that a little bit, and that's sometimes a lot of people will do that on the first sale they make. They'll break even on the first sale or even lose a little bit of money because they know down the road what they call the back end. You can sell more and more and more, and therefore you can win it. So it takes a lot to get to your first client, and not as much as to sell them, because you built that trust, as I talked about before. Sometimes you'll do that, but not as often. And of course, where you want to be is the top right quadrant. I win, you win, and that's really what you want to be, as they always say, a win-win situation. Here's some of the personal reasons that you've got to get people to either quietly accept, or however, remain in power, achieve control, get more power, get more leisure, increase self-esteem. They can be more flexible, increase feature development, increase personal productivity. They could be seen as an instrument of change, or as a leader, as a problem solver. Offer a unique value to them, contribute to the organization, as I've talked before. They can increase their responsibility and authority, or they can contribute to the organization. They can gain recognition. They can pursue a certain lifestyle. Maybe they'll get time off. They get more money by doing this. Improve their social status. They can get more freedom because your system will give them more time. So all of these things, be aware of that people buy for emotional or personal reasons and justify with logical reasons, especially for B2B. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was working with a client who had a product that was pretty good. As you know, if you've worked in B2B in the technology area, business people and technology people have trouble talking to each other. So this client that I had a product that helped business people ask the right questions, the business analysts, to the technology people. So I went in, I knew the CIO, and he had a manager who was in charge of that department who had 2 women that were working for them. So we went in and we demonstrated the product, and these 2 women could see that this was going to be a lifesaver for them. It was just going to be so much easier for them to do it. The guy that was their manager was probably in his early 60s, let's say, a year or 2 to retirement. The CIO liked it, and this guy put the kibosh on it, the manager, who was in his 60s, because you could just see the wheels going. He'd been around for long enough to understand that when you put a new system, sometimes you got to work nights, sometimes you got to work weekends. You could just see him saying, "I'm coasting to retirement." I could almost read his mind that said, "I'm coasting to retirement. I'm not putting in any more extra hours on the nights or weekends." Didn't like it at all, and his people loved it. So you have to understand the personal wins and why people buy. Okay? Understand that that's the most important thing. I don't care what anybody says. Look at this bank chairman who was the vault. Not only he would have lost his job if people had with that security issue. So it's important. Now I want to look at marketing. There's 2 types of marketing: outbound and inbound. So let's look at outbound for a minute, which is you find them first. You send them something without permission, or call them. It's direct response marketing. I'm going to talk about that a bit, which means you send them something and they have to get back to you. It can be done through emails, cold calling, and it's sometimes after permission, after they've contacted you or signed up with you, then you send it. So that's outbound marketing. And why does people don't like it? Well, it's disruptive to them, okay? That's why they don't like it. It's annoying to a lot of people, and that's why there's a do not call list all around. It's disruptive and annoying, and people don't want it, particularly with consumers. And as I mentioned before, I'm doing these the buy cycle with different people that I know in different types of industries. And they don't answer the phone. Or I talked to one woman this morning who does answer the phone, but she tells them to get lost and don't call me again. She says she's never, ever seen somebody from a phone call. They're disruptive and annoying. They won't return phone calls. They don't need what you sell because you haven't done your homework. You're talking to the wrong person because you haven't done your homework, and you're asking the wrong questions like what keeps you awake at night. I want to know. You better know what keeps them awake at night or what keeps people in their position awake at night. So that's why people don't like outbound calls. But outbound does work in one situation. If you have something relevant to say to the right person. If you've done your homework and you've got a product or service that really does bring value, again, you've got to have that foundation, then you can call them up. But most of them prefer an email. And I'm not going to get into it. There's a way to word emails that will get them to respond to you. But if you have something relevant that can help them reach their goals, solve their problems, and you're doing it to the right person, which is the person who signs the checks, that makes the final decision, then you can call them, or I would say email them and contact them. That's when outbound works. So let's look at inbound. Inbound basically is you collect visitors' contact information for further communications. They find you through your website, through blogs, through social media, through forums. There's all kinds of forums that you can do. And my son was telling me about a community. My son has just moved to London, England. Well, he moved there last October. And to keep in touch with his friends here, they have a thing called WhatsApp. You've heard of people say, what's up? Well, this is WhatsApp. It's an Apple application. And it's a community where they all join. And that's how they keep in touch with each other if you've got kids in their 20s like I do, on a minute-by-minute basis, no matter what else is going on. If they're in front of you, they're always got their phone out, and they're always seeing what their buddies are tweeting them or IMing them or whatever. So there's all kinds of different communities out there, forums, inbound that you can get involved in. More and more people are saying that. Now, why is your website your best marketer? I'm going to talk about that. Well, your website, if people ask you now what your address is, it's not 123 Main Street, Toronto, Ontario. It's your www.b2bbusinesscoach.com. It's your URL. That's your address. Your website is your new address. 80%, and that's growing by the day, of B2B companies find you first. They do a search to find your business. They have an issue. They have something they want. I want a new ERP system. As I've talked to these CIOs, that's what they do. They go out and find people. They do research. They find you first. And Google takes them to your website because 85 or 87%, whatever the number is, of people search on Google now. There's a couple others out there, as you know, Bing and Yahoo, I guess. But people do Google searches because they're the best ones. Takes you to your website. So your website's important. And you need to be on the first page of that website or of that search. Your website needs to be, and usually in the top 5 or 6 positions, because people don't go by that. You know, like less than 5% of people go to the second page. What they'll do is they'll enter a new search term if they can't find you on the first page. You need to engage and entertain them. They need to know that you know what you're talking about, and you don't do stuff like I showed you earlier about what differentiates your unique value. That's just garbage, and that'll turn people off. People stay for like 3 to 5 seconds, and if they don't see something, if they see something they like, they might say 20 seconds or 15. But if you don't keep engaging them by entertaining them, then they're going to leave. You need to get their contact information, and you need to have a blog. So all of those things are important on a website. You also need to have social proof and a whole bunch of other things. But that's why your website is your best marketer. And the best B2B social platforms, well, I talked about your website and your blog. They're mandatory. You must have those if you want to succeed. LinkedIn is very important too for B2B, and YouTube is becoming more and more important because Google owns YouTube, and you have to start putting videos up on your blog, on your homepage. And Twitter is becoming more important too. Facebook can, depending who you're selling to, if you're selling B2B and it's mostly small, medium-sized companies, particularly small companies, and people are on Facebook, you can, but I don't see how large corporate executives go on Facebook. Most of them don't even have, they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s. They don't even have Facebook accounts, a lot of them. But a lot of them are using Twitter, and a lot of them like to use YouTube. So understand that. These are the 5, and you can only do so many, so it's important that you do have these. And social media, there's a formula for social media which gets back into the buying process. You look at the types of social media. W is WordPress, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. I got Facebook, Google Plus is becoming more important, and Hangouts and that kind of thing, so you should look at that. But here's what you do. You attract leads through your magnet, your sales funnel, whatever you're doing, and then you convert those leads into cash. So you get attention, you capture the leads after you get their attention, you establish credibility by giving them lots of content through your blog, then you start bonding with the prospect, giving them create desire, ask for business, not all the time, 1 out of 5 content, and then a call to action. Here's what you need to do, okay? So you've got to do these things, and this is how you do things through a social media formula. I'm not going to belabor this at all, but you can see that's what you have to learn. What this is there's lots of knowledge needed in this to do it right, as you can see. It takes a long time to do it. There's lots of knowledge you got to gain. If you've got people in-house to do it, fine, and hopefully they're studying all the time because this stuff changes dramatically over and over and over again. Okay, so it's important that you do it. So there's 4 ways to build a business, okay? And that's what I want to talk to you about. You've seen how I don't want to sophisticated it is. I don't like the word complicated. There is some complexity in it, but it's sophisticated to build a business these days. It's not just I got a product, I'm going to make a few phone calls and we'll see what happens. You got to be on social media. That's how people find you, or you're not going to get business. And even if you do find them first, they do searches on you to make sure that you're credible and that what you're saying is true. And they'll talk to other people. That's why social proof is true. So there's 4 ways to build a business. You can read the manual and you do it yourself. Okay? That's the one way. You can do all of these social media things. When I say read the manual, of course, now is you go on and you get things from the internet, all the information you want on the internet, and you can spend the next 10 years reading. Or, and by then, of course, it'll all be out of date, so you got to start over again. Or you can get someone to do it for you. And that's a good way to do it. Get somebody to do the stuff for you. That's why you hire people. So you don't have to do it. You can work on the business, not in it anymore. You can get experts to teach you how to do it, or you can do 2 and 3. Get someone to do it for you, or get someone to help you do it for you. So it cuts your time in half. Okay? So what I want to do is talk to you about number 4 ways to build a business. And Benjamin Franklin has had this quote, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." Okay? It's just like catching a fish. If you catch a fish, yeah, you cook me dinner. If you teach me, I'll remember it and I'll try it. But if you involve me and you stand there with me and you really work with me on it, then I learn how to do it and it sticks with me. So understand that quote. So as I talked to you right at near the first of this webinar and video, I talked about the blogs I'm doing, 101 questions. I'm at 74.5. But one of the first ones I did is, why do you need a B2B marketing plan? And that's really important. That's the foundation of your business. And Winston Churchill said, "He who fails to plan is planning to fail." You've heard all of that. If you don't plan, you're going to fail. And the other one was, of course, from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. If you don't know where you want to go, which is what a plan is, what your goals are, where do you want to go? You don't know where you're going, any road will do. Like those quotes I showed you, those 3 things, the ideal client that these people sent me, which was just garbage, and then and everything else they sent me was garbage. They don't understand what is needed for their business. to be successful. So you need a plan. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you'd like a strategic marketing plan, I can help you do that. Because the foundation, this is the foundation on which you build your business. Just like when you put the cellar in your house, you put a foundation on your house one way or the other so you can build your rooms on it, you can build your house on it. You need that for your business. So what is a strategic marketing plan? What do I go through? And I'll just step you through these quickly. I do an analysis of your current marketing and sales. We talk about your business goals. We do a competitive analysis. We do the completed buyer personas, both company and all influencers. We find out what your differentiation is, what your value proposition is, and definition of marketing quality leads and sales quality leads, so that your marketing understands what sales needs and what a quality lead is. And I'm going to show you how to do that with inbound marketing and outbound. What are your key performance indicators? What indicators to show you? What measurements do you need to get so that you can see whether you're progressing? We do a campaign development strategy so that we can do campaigns for your products and services. Do a traffic strategies, SEO, blogging, social media, etc. Then we do a lead conversion strategy with your sales, your qualified leads from marketing to sales. Do a sales strategy, marketing automation, sales and marketing alignment, as I talked about, marketing analytics and reporting plans. All of these are in this strategic marketing plan that I want to help you build. And this is a great time to build it in July, by the way, because as you know, in the summer in the Northern Hemisphere, a lot of companies are on holidays. And if you're building that now, you hit the road, bam, running like crazy by the time September rolls around. And a lot of buying, most buying is done in September, actually, because people have tried to do stuff and they can't get it done. So they need to turn to people and say, I need help with this. Maybe you need help. We've still got 5.5 months to go before the end of the year, and it's a great time to get all of this in place. And you will have a complete blueprint of how to grow your business. Just like you need a blueprint to build your house. You need a blueprint to grow your business. You need to put that foundation in. So what is the cost of this program? Well, my regular fee is $3,500, okay? Because you can see everything that you get. $3,500 is a pretty reasonable fee for what you're going to get in all of this to build your business. But you only pay $2,500, okay? But because you're watching this program, I'm going to give you a however. If you register before July 20th, that's this coming Saturday, because I'm going to start on Monday, you pay only $1,897. So instead of $3,500, you're only going to pay $1,897. And you're going to get bonuses on top of that. You're going to save $1,600, a 46% discount from $3,500 to $1,897. 97 or 67? 1897. And your buyer persona is going to be helped by Adele Ravella, who I've met with recently, and she has a great program for defining who your ideal buyer persona is, both from a company and a person perspective. And it's really going to help you once you define that, how you're going to approach these people and how you're going to set up your marketing. And that's a $349 value is what she charges. You're going to get free access to me for 1 month, a $3,500 value. As I mentioned, that's what I charge people to work with them, $3,500. So basically, you're getting me for nothing. And any agency work we do after we do this month, the entire amount goes towards the first month. So that whatever you pay, if we have carry-on work, you won't have to pay anything else because that's going to go towards the first month. Now, I expect in an agency work we sign a 12-month agreement, and I help you do things over 12 months. But everything you pay, this $1,897, will go towards the first month. So your value, you pay $1,897, you get bonuses worth almost $5,500, $5,450, and you don't have to pay if you keep going there. Basically, you don't have to pay. You get that value coming back. And it's great value, okay? So that's what you get. In fact, you're almost getting this for nothing if you do it right, and everything happens, you get it for nothing. And I'm going to guarantee that you do this. If you don't get at least double your money back in 6 months, then I'll give you your money back. Okay, so that's my guarantee. So I don't know how you can go wrong by not doing this, or by doing this, rather. You can't go wrong. So here's how you register. You go to this page, www.getretaind www.b2bbusinesscoach.com/blog/ it's actually NCA 20137. So that's wrong. It's actually NCA, new client acquisition, NCA 20137. I'm sorry I didn't change that. Okay, and it's small letters, all small letters, NCA 20137. So it's not blog, it's NCA 2017. If you have any questions, please contact me, Ian at b2bbusinesscoach.com. When you go to this page, all my contact information is on it. Again, you must put in blog and you must put in NCA 20137. I apologize for that. I just realized that. Again, contact me if you have any questions. Thanks a lot. I really look forward to working with you. And if you have any questions, contact me.